CEIR TV is sponsored by Visit Orlando and the Orange County Convention Center. I'm Ed Highland at CEIR Predict in New York. The focus of these C-level executives is the CEIR Index, a comprehensive look at the performance of the exhibition industry, and newly added, a look ahead for the next 3 years. The closely watched CEIR Index provides an economic forecast within 14 sectors for the remainder of this year and through 2014. John Walker of Oxford Economics detailed the sluggish recovery from the recession, budget deficits, and challenges ahead from the Eurozone crisis.
I think the big story there is that although growth overall is feeble, you are seeing really good performance in some areas. One of them being the oil and gas sector that I've just talked about, but obviously we're seeing good performance from the aerospace sector, from cars and so on and so forth. It's been offset by really poor performance from things like construction and areas of finance and business services.
In the CEIR Index, 4 key metrics are measured: net square feet of exhibit space sold, professional attendance, number of exhibiting companies, and total event gross revenue. Take a look at this graph. Red shows the exhibition industry and the blue stripes are overall GDP. As you can see on the right-hand side, the CEIR Index shows that overall, exhibition industry growth closely mirrors U.S. GDP growth in 2012 at over 2%. This next graph shows good news. Attendance, which is a leading indicator, was up more than 4% in the second quarter of 2012. The exhibition industry no doubt varies by sector. The worst performers are in the education and nonprofit arena, and the best in transportation, legal, heavy machinery, and communications. In fact, the index predicts gains in communications and IT to more than double the industry averages into the next 3 years.
If you look at IT communications, consumer goods, and retail, you're talking about 2 categories that clearly bode well for the exhibition industry because we see growth, but they're also beacons for the overall economy. Business technology purchasing and consumer confidence are 2 huge components of the economy overall, so it's great to see both of those showing positive growth.
One of the most talked about predictions was a forecast of energy independence in a decade for the U.S. based on rapid growth in domestic oil and gas production. But is it too optimistic?
The U.S. is still highly dependent on oil to produce, to run its cars, to use in manufacturing and so forth. And it's going to take a long time before we can domestically produce enough to replace what we import.
The housing story is well known, but the CEIR Index is seeing a small and growing recovery that builds over time.
The construction sector was hit hard in the Great Recession and is still trying to come out of it. Nice thing is growth is better than average right now, but a long way to go to get the pre-recession. I think the positive side is there's built up demand for construction right now. Road building is way behind. The investment in the infrastructure is way behind. So the dynamics are there for a really good recovery.
This was valuable data, analyzing key economic indicators for the exhibition industry and the impact it will have on organizations that produce exhibitions for the next 3 years.
Well, there's no question in some of the growing sectors we've seen this healthcare changes. In terms of sporting goods, it's very accurate. It's what we've seen back home.
You can't have too much quality data. It's going to help you. You're going to mine it in different ways. It's going to help you understand where we are today and where we might be going in the future. So no, I'm just delighted that we're getting more and more and more research and quality data to support the value of trade shows.
While data is the star of CEIR Predict, this year's highly intensive and interactive event also engaged virtual attendees with live streaming video and interviews with key industry leaders. The online extension was sponsored by BXB Online and hosted by CNTV's Carrie Farinack. There was a virtual-only session with one-on-one interviews, and then the final 2 sessions of the day were live-streamed to the virtual audience. To see more video highlights from CEIR Predict in New York, be sure to check them out right here on CEIR.org. I'm Ed Highland.
CEvent recently announced the top 50 cities for meetings and events in the United States. Orlando was ranked as the #1 spot, beating out competitors like Chicago, Las Vegas, and Washington, D.C. Orlando, the #1 meeting destination.